What is going on, everybody? This is the Fresh Baked Goods, and thank you for clicking on this video. Let's talk tanking, but more specifically, let's talk tactics and just some good overall tips. And I will just say right off the bat, if you're clicking on this video wondering if this is going to be one of those where do I shoot tanks videos, it's not. There is already plenty good content out there on it. In fact, before you even watch this video, I highly recommend reading the Tank Bible. I'll put the link down in the description, and this is a document that will basically cover all your questions about tank engagements. So huge shout out to the guys that put it together. It is an awesome piece of information that everyone taking in Hell Let Loose should read. But what I wanted to cover in this video was everything that happens before you fire the first shot. Because with update 10, tanking in Hell Let Loose has now become a battle of who shoots first for the most part. So most of these tank fights are won and lost before that first shot's even fired. So hopefully you can watch this and feel better about tanking at the end of it. So let's get into it. So to start this video off, my first tip is just practice. Tanking in this game is very, very frustrating at the start. And really the only way you're gonna get better at it is just playing more of it. And also it's very helpful to find a group of people that you can play consistently with. A tank crew that works well together is always gonna be more likely to succeed than a group of randoms that are put together. And I will say it is very helpful playing every single position in the tank. I know we kind of all eventually get set in our ways, like I like shooting, I'm best at it, I'm best at driving, best at tank commander, all that stuff. It is very helpful to have a good understanding of every single role in the tank. For example, you're going to become a better driver if you have a better understanding of how the gunner seat operates. That way you're going to be able to turn them into positions faster and get them better angles quicker. And this is most certainly true for tank commander. You're going to become way better at the tank commander role if you have a better understanding of how those two other seats operate. So I recommend just practicing every single role as much as you can. Each role separately will make you a better tanker overall. When the match starts, you're gonna wanna have a plan. The worst thing you could do is just roll your tank up somewhere and say, let's see what happens next. You need to figure out what kind of game your tank is gonna have. Are you gonna play defensively? Are you gonna go for a flank? Are you gonna hunt tanks? Are you gonna be infantry support? Having a plan and sticking to it for as long as you can will increase the likelihood that you're gonna have a successful match. Because when you have three people doing very different things, you all need to be working towards the same goal. If the driver's just kind of sitting there not knowing what to do, he's not going to know how to react, the gunner's not going to know where to look, and it's going to go 0 to 100 once the shit starts kicking off for the tank commander. So have a game plan, stick to it the best you can. I know stuff goes sideways a lot. Not only will your tank do better, you're probably going to have more fun if you stick to the plan. And this goes closely with my next point. Communication is so important. I know this is kind of just a Hell Let Loose basics for any sort of part of this game, but communication in a tank crew is so important. And this just doesn't apply to the tank commander relaying information from command chat down to his crew. The driver and gunner both constantly need to talk about what they're seeing. Each one of these spots has very different viewports. The tank commander is going to have his hands full between command chat, the map, looking around, guarding the back of the tank. The gunner could be looking off to left and right, and the driver's going to be looking straight ahead. And given that 2 of the 3 are very limited views, if something's going on, you need to say something. There's countless times where a driver sees a tank before the tank commander just because they're looking behind or somewhere else. And this just goes for basic infantry movements as well. If you see infantry moving off in the distance, let it be known. Since your viewport is limited, you need to kind of paint a picture of what's going on around you. When I'm tank commander and I see infantry around that's maybe not even harmful to my tank, I let the crew know, hey, just be aware, we have infantry behind us, he can't hurt us, but they're there. That way, in case anyone hears footsteps, they're not freaking out thinking it's AT. The more awareness you have, it's gonna give you a better fighting chance. And this brings me to my most important part of this whole video. If you take anything away from this video, let it be this part. Let's talk about the map and more importantly, just information. So much of Hell Let Loose tanking is down to information, map knowledge, and markings. While this is most important to the tank commander, you should still be looking at your map if you're a gunner or driver. And let me say this right now. Tank marks in Hell Let Loose are a tanker's best weapon. With accurate tank marks, a tank crew can be unstoppable. Tank marks win tank battles. And with these marks, not only is it easier to get the jump on an enemy tank, it's also good to know when a tank isn't around. For example, if you're going up against 2 enemy tanks and you find out that they're on the other side of the map and they're not even close to you, you know it's a little safer to move. You can push up if you need to. It provides you with a sense of security for whatever you have to do next. Knowing where tanks are at all times is crucial, even if it's not near your tank. So if you're watching this and you don't tank, USL, command, whatever, mark, tanks, your tank crews will do so much better. And if there are no tank marks up and you're in a crew, your tank commander needs to ask for them and constantly ask for them. It's kind of funny when there's no tank marks on a map, but there's 3 tank crews on their team. You ask for marks, all of a sudden 2 get popped down immediately. People forget to do it, so sometimes you need to ask for it. And this goes both ways. When you're in a tank, you see infantry movements, you see supplies coming down, you're going to see a lot of airheads coming down. You need to mark those and communicate those as well. Even though it might not be something you can physically get to, you're not near, it's very helpful for the team out if you call those things out. Map knowledge itself, this is going to be something that just comes over time from experience. And to help learn this, I suggest taking your time, opening up the map, and looking at the flow of the game. On specific maps, there's always going to be more popular ways that tanks like to travel around. For example, tanks will almost always avoid urban parts of the map. If you look at St. Mary-Glise, they will always go hospice or checkpoint. And this is because those crowded streets in any map are an AT's paradise. So when you look at maps like St. Mary-Glise, Carentan, even Foy for the most part, tanks will avoid that center spot. So if you look at a map and say, hey, there's infantry and garrisons up here, there's no way tanks gonna push through there, they're most likely gonna come through the other side. And the same kind of thinking applies to other maps like Purple Heart Lane or Kursk, where there's only so many bridges or roads that a tank can take to get across the map. Once you start to narrow these lanes down, you'll start to discover the greatest positions where you have sight lines in all these. And then if you just look at the map, see where points are, see where infantry is, and you'll get an idea of where enemy movements, enemy tanks are. But it's all about just stopping and paying attention to that. You're gonna learn those good spots, you're gonna learn the good flanks, you're gonna learn where all the bridges and routes are. But once you do, you're going to find it much easier to get around and much easier to get the jump on some tanks. And don't sleep on the team score screen here. This is a very good tool. What I always do at the start of every tank round is I press tab. I close every squad that's not a tank crew for both my team and the enemy team. This is a very cheap maneuver, but hey, it's in the game and you should be using it. And you should keep an eye on this. That way you know exactly how many tanks you're going up against, if they're killing other tanks. You can see people's score going up so you can know if they're in action. This screen combined with the map can be incredibly helpful to locate enemy tanks. For example, if you have a friendly tank a couple columns over that just got destroyed, and then you pop open the tab screen and see the enemy tank score just went up, then all you have to do is then look at the map, look in relation to where that friendly tank was destroyed, look where friendly infantry is, look where the obvious positions are, and it's fairly easy to determine where the enemy tank's going to be. It's just more information to have. You know who you're going up against, you know how well they're doing, and you should not ignore it. But in the end, tanking is essentially a battle of information. The more information you have going into fights, the better chances you're going to have at winning them. So let's talk about movement and getting around maps. The edge of the map is your best friend in a tank. It eliminates a whole flank you can be shot from. It provides you a sense of safety. And if you need to get from one end to the other, use it to your advantage. Also, you should be looking at friendly garrisons and OPs. When I need to advance a few columns, I'll usually say, hey, let's go by that OP or garrison. It'll ping if someone's close to us. We'll know if we're safe or not. It gives you more knowledge on your advance. And that way you can move from point to point with relative cover. As you're moving across the map, you need to know you are not safe the second you get in that tank. People are starting to learn that the scout car is a very dangerous weapon in Hell Let Loose post update 10, since these tanks can no longer turn fast enough. If a scout car gets up behind you, you're pretty much already dead if it's an experienced crew. And these boys are out hunting. And the same idea goes for AT. There are now 3 different classes that have satchel charges. And if you were not aware, it is incredibly easy to satchel a tank, and it is almost next to impossible to defuse one of these if you do get satcheled. So more often than not, a lot of these dudes go rogue and like to sit outside the HQ. So the tank commander should be doing 360s the second you leave HQ. And this is where friendly OPs and garrisons come into play. Stay close to them as you make your advance. They'll let you know if anything's coming up behind you, next to you. That little bit of radar goes a long way and will kind of guide you on your advance. All right, so let's talk about positioning and cover. Cover in a tank is just as important as cover in infantry. Heavy tanks are now going to one-shot, two-shot you, no problem. So if you're out in the open and someone has an accurate mark on you, you're going to be dead before you even see the tank. They're going to shoot you from across that fucking map. So once you've settled in, you find where you need to go, you need to try your best to get some cover. Eliminating a threat from a whole flank is just the way you need to play a tank in this game. Whether it be pulling up next to a hay bale on Foy or using the hedges on St. Marie, cover is your best friend in this game as a tank. And what this does, it causes enemy tanks to push you, and that gives you the defender's advantage. It is much easier to shoot a tank that's moving on you. It takes serious skill shooting from a tank that's in motion, and it's all about landing that first shot. So it's always going to be easier for the tank that's defending to fire more accurately and to fire first. And the best way to operate when you're in cover is to prairie dog yourself. You need to move your tank out, fire your shot, and then you need to reverse it back a few meters. This will take communication and coordination through all 3 different seats. The gunner has to let the commander and driver know when he has a shot, and the driver needs to be ready to move as soon as that first shot is fired. It's a long reload time, and you need to start getting back in cover as soon as you fire. Because if for some reason that shot ricochets, misses, hits the wrong part of the tank, if the enemy tank hits you first, you do have a chance. You're already in the motion of getting back into cover. You can get out. You could probably repair in time, and that allows you to reset and try the engagement over again. Also, elevation is so useful in this game. If you need any further proof, just look at the windmills on Kursk, the hills on Sainte Marie du Mont, or the beach on Utah. You're gonna be able to see tanks before they see you when you're positioned up there. So the ideal goal for you, for any tank crew in Hell Let Loose, is you should always be aiming to end up in a position that's elevated with cover. What is also very, very crucial, which you don't hear enough people talking about, is knowing the sounds that tanks make. Hell Let Loose does a great job of letting you determine where an enemy tank is based on the sound of them shooting. It's very easy to determine if it's a light tank or a big boy. It becomes easy to determine how far away that tank is. And to help you with this, as soon as that tank fires, do your best to determine what bearing it's coming from.
Yeah. Should see him in a second.
Oh, that was a shot.
Okay.
That was like,
left.
yeah, I think it was like northeast, north somewhere. So, all right, there it was again. That was definitely northeast. Yeah, we're like real close to him though, I think. There, where was that? Was that to our left?
That was in front.
Okay. He could be other side of this hedge. Oh my god.
Oh,
my god. Get right behind him. Get right behind him. As soon as you have a good idea of the direction it's coming from, open up your map. Depending on what map it is, depending on where friendly infantry is, other friendly tanks, it's fairly easy to determine where that tank probably is. Now, it is important to mention, anytime you fire your cannon, the enemy can hear you. So just as important it is to listen for enemy tanks, it is important for your tank to hold fire unless they absolutely have to, or if it's a shot you can hit first. It is very easy to blow a flank. I know it's tempting when you see that little infantry dude running along and you want to make him be in pieces with an HE. But you know, there's a Tiger 76 just a couple cells over that you're moving on. Hold fire, man. It's not worth it. Be sneaky. The tank is the bigger prize here. The second you fire on that infantry, they'll know exactly where you are. And then once the fight is over, make sure to relocate. It's all about fire and moving, fire and moving. Keep the enemy guessing where you are. They will focus in on your shots and they will come for you. So let's talk infantry support. Countless times, infantry support will let you down. Don't take this the wrong way. Infantry support is nice. Do not depend on it when you're in a tank. It is very common to have friendly infantry all around you, yet you're still going to get satcheled. You're still going to get AT in the back. Puma or Greyhound's going to roll up on you, and no one says or does anything. Do not depend on infantry support. That said, it is better to have friendly infantry with your tank than it is not, because there absolutely will be times when they save you. So if you do want to work with infantry, I always suggest doing a little leapfrog maneuver when you're pushing. Let the infantry push up a few meters in front of you, then you push up a couple of meters in front of them, and just keep this pattern going. If all the infantry gets wiped, back it on off. Just make sure you do not get cut off. But this way, you're helping the push and you're still getting cover out of it. With a crew that eventually works together over time, communicates well, and potentially has a good team they're working with, you're going to get good at this game. And there's going to be days where you have rough runs, where you're getting destroyed a bunch, not having good games. Hell, it might even go a couple days before you have a good one again. It's just how this goes. I still have bad days in this game. Don't let it get you down. In the end, what this is all about is having fun with your friends in the tank, blowing up some infantry, blowing up some friends, high-fiving about it. Enjoy the small little battles you have in this game. Sometimes it's best to ignore the big picture and just, you know, be satisfied with the tank you just blew up. Be satisfied with the small battle you had. It's the little moments that make this special. So you don't want to forget that, and you don't want to get too frustrated about it. Just have some fun. That's what this is all about in the end. But that's all I really have for you guys. I hope you found this helpful. If you do want more Hell Let Loose tank content, you're certainly in the right place. Please consider liking the video. Please consider subscribing. I thank you guys for everything you do. I thank you for watching. I'll see you dudes on the front line.